look at auto binding, a feature that lots of people don't actually find, but really useful. And a good use case is what I'm building here is I've got a user profile page that I'm trying to build out. So once the user's onboarded, signed up, etc., we might want to show them their profile so they could edit various details of their own profile. Excuse me. So what I've got here is I've got a group called group profile. Type of content is user, and it's pulling the current user, so whatever current user's logged in. And then inside that box, I've got current user's image. I've got the first name, last name, and a bio where they can put a long description about who they are and what they do. Now, sort of without auto binding, the way to have a user be able to update this was to have these input boxes. So input box, and a multi-line input box. And then I'd have a save button here, and I'd run a workflow that updates a thing, updates the current user and updates their first name, last name, or the bio when they click the save button. But sometimes you've seen on the web forms that actually auto save. Well, auto bind is your auto save option. So I'll show you how to set it up. So firstly, we take our input for first name, and you'll notice that you've got this enable auto binding on parent element thing. So our parent element is this, the group, and its thing is user. So if I tick that box, I immediately get a field to modify option. And if I drop that down, all of these fields are the fields that are in my user table in the data section. So if I go to data and I look at data type, user, here's all of these, or the majority of those, I should say, because some you can't auto bind to, depending on what the type is, but the vast majority you can see here. In this case, I want to auto bind it to first name. But I get this message here, which is basically telling me that's fine, but your privacy section or your privacy settings don't currently allow you to do that. Don't allow me to auto bind. It's a separate privacy option. So what I can do is I can just click on this error message, and it will take me over to auto bind. Take me over to the privacy section, and under my this particular user rule that I've got in here, which is current user is logged in, I've got allow auto binding has appeared. So I can tick the box, and then it allows me to specify which fields I want to allow to be auto bound. So in this case, I'm going to do first name, last name, and a description, and maybe image for future as well, so they can change their image. So that will allow me to auto bind all of those. So let's go back to our page. So now when I go and do the same for last name, I won't get the error message to go and change the privacy because I've already set it. So let's go here and do the same with our multi. What do I want to bind it to? Description. Great. So as easy as that. So now let's have a look at what that looks like inside the preview. As you can see, I previously previewed it. And we've got a profile here for Jackie Chan. Excuse me. So there's his little profile, here's his name, etc. And basically what it allows me to do is if I wanted to put Jackie Chan the second in here, as soon as I click off it, you'll notice the blue bar went across the top. That has now updated the database in that field for me. So if we go, it was Jackie Chan. If I go and have a look at that, and we go to data, app data, and we edit the user, you can see now the last name is Jackie Chan the second, or Jack Chan the second. So that's auto updated it. And if I was to change it back to Chan, boom, come back into the database, and you can see it's changed it there. So that's a great way of having forms that don't require a save button. Now, particularly with the user, there's a couple of things obviously you can't change like that. Email address you can't change, you can't auto bind to. And obviously passwords you can't see, so you can't auto bind that. But lots of other things that you can auto bind to. So it's a great way of having your users not have to click a save button, etc. Hope that helps.